Good evening, Todd Prophet here for Digital Tools 2, and tonight I want to show you how to do a Google form. And if I have time, I may do a couple little drop-down. I'll show you how to do a drop-down menu in Google Forms, and also show you how to do data validation. Let's go ahead and begin. How do you actually create a form? There's two different ways you can create a form. First, if we go over here just to my general drive, click on New, click on More, you can start a Google form just by going here. I typically don't start this way. I like to always link my forms to a spreadsheet. It makes it easier for me to look at the data and then also use the data for other things. So I don't go here. I typically will start a spreadsheet. So I'll create a new spreadsheet. I've already got one started here. And then you go over to Tools, create a new form. And it will take a second, and it's going to actually create a new form. Now you're going to notice something on here. It creates a new tab. Okay, this is Form Responses 3. This is Form Responses 2. Why have I got 3 of them up already? Because this is my third take, because for some reason the recording has stopped twice in the middle of this video. So let's see if it doesn't stop again. So here we have Form Responses 3. If I click on here, so far we don't have much in there. So if I go over here to Form though, and I go to Edit Form, it will bring me in and it'll let me start editing this form as I see fit. I'm going to go ahead and, well, let's go ahead and start here. For this, the beginning, you can click here, you can add a title to your form. You can also add a description, and if you have specific instructions that you want to leave, you're going to leave them right there. First, we have the first question. This first one just happens to be multiple choice. You can make it all kinds of different things, but let me just show you multiple choice. So my first question is going to be what so it's what hat should I wear? Now one of the things that you're going to notice is if it will try to predict things for you, like if it's a true or false questions, it'll try to predict that for you and give you those options immediately, which is kind of handy. I found the few times that I did that, it was nice to have. Okay, so what hat should I wear in the next video? I can go in here and type each one in, but what I've actually gone in and done is I went ahead and already had them typed in here. So all I have to do is copy that, and then when I go back to my form, I can paste it in, and it's going to show me that list of specific questions. Okay, there's a bunch of different types that you can, bunch of different types of questions you can put in. Let's go over those real quick. I'm going to go over that form that I've already been working on the past couple times. Okay, so form demo. First is short answer. So I went ahead and put that one first. Your name. It's a basic short answer. Don't forget, anytime you do one, you can come down here and you can add a description in. These dots are typically preferences. If there's something that particular type of question has, you can go in and you can click here and it'll give you some more options, and I'll show you that just in a minute. Okay, so this is basic short answer. Okay, the next one down is, again, this was multiple choice, and I showed you that before. Next we have checkboxes, where you can go in and you can just checkbox each one that you want. This allows you to do multiple answers. So if you want them to answer more than one thing, if you want me to wear the Santa hat with the antlers, then you would use this type of question. Drop down's pretty straightforward. The only reason I put the drop down in is it's just like multiple choice. I think it's a cleaner look in the questions, and we'll show you that later. The next thing I've got here before I show you some more types of questions is you can add a section in. If you want to create a section, you click on this one right here. You can add title and section and description. So if you need more instructions, or this bank of questions has another theme or something like that, you can create a second section. The next one we can do is a rating system. In the rating system, you can give it 1 to whatever. We're going to change this one to 4, and then you can put a label on here, worst to best, or however you want to make sure they understand that. Again, that's linear here. Okay, the two I'm not going to show you is I'm not going to show you multiple choice grid or checkbox grid. Essentially, if you need them to say I can do the multiple things at once, you can actually use the grid, but I'm not going to show you those this evening. The next one is date and time. Is date. So I put in a date. One of the cool things is when you click on the description, if you want to do date and time in the same one, all you have to do is add it down here by going into the descriptions. If you want to require a certain question, like you want to require that date, you can do that. Or if you want to duplicate a question, you can click this here. If you want to remove a question, easy way to do it. What if I want to move questions around? That's where these little dots come in. You just grab those dots and you can move that up to anywhere that you want. Okay, one of the other things that you can do is you can add a second page. Now, when you add a second page, you can do this for a couple reasons. One, if you just don't want each page bank of questions to be that long, you can put it in multiple pages. The other thing to do is sometimes you ask a question and that leads to more questions. If yes, then you have a bunch of questions. Well, what you can do is you can add in different pages and say go to this page or go to that page. And let me just show you that real quick. Let's go up here on the second page for a moment. I just added a question in. Would you like a job? Okay, so if they want a job, then, and here, remember it gives suggestions, add all. Okay, actually I'm going to get rid of maybe. It's either a yes or no. So if the answer is yes, I'm going to want a resume. So I'm going to pull this down to the last one real quick. I want them to add a resume. So what I can do is I can click here and I can go to a section-based answer. So if they click yes, I want them to go to page 2, where I'm going to have them upload a resume. If not, then I'm going to have them just submit the form. Okay, and this is a required question, so I'm going to make sure that that's required, so that if they say yes, they're going to go down here to page 2, in which you're going to upload a resume. Now, when you upload a resume, how you do that is you click over here, and it's file upload. That's what this one is. You click on that, and this is what comes up. You can ask for specific file types if you want. Typically, I leave this open. I let them choose what they want to upload, but it depends on what I'm looking for. Maximum number of files is here, and then, of course, file size. Be careful with file size, because if you're using the regular Google, you are limited on your Google Drive space, so you don't want them uploading a whole bunch of really big stuff. So, like I said, the max here is 10 gigabytes if you want them to do that. So where do they put these files? 2 places. If you use the spreadsheet form, then it's going to show up in it's going to show up as multiple links to each individual file in one of the columns, which is kind of hard to read. But the other place that they put it is if we click over here on demos, okay, we have both forms that I've done so far, but then we also have this demo form file responses. So if you click in here, any files that have been uploaded will show up there. So let me just back out of this just a little bit and go back here. So let's show you what this looks like. Let's go to preview real quick, and this is what our first one looks like. Right now it's asking me, I'm requiring that we sign in from SUNY Fredonia. I'll show you how to change that. So it's asking me if I want to switch accounts. So I'm going to add my name in. I'm going to make some choices, and this is where I said the drop-down menu was I think a little cleaner than just having it makes the whole files a little easier to. I'm sorry, it doesn't take up as much space on the form. That's all I'm trying to say. So this is a required question, so I'm going to have to answer this one. I'm going to give it a rating of 3. Would I like a job? Let's just say yes for now. Then it's going to ask me to add and upload a file. I'm just going to click on my drive real quick. Not really sure. Let's just take a photo here, take a poster, and let's click the Much Ado poster. Must be less than... So that file was just a little big. So I'm not going to upload one right now. I'm just going to go ahead and hit next, and then I'm going to hit submit. Okay. So had I actually uploaded that, it would have shown up where it needed to be. Now let's go back and look at a few things on our form. That was just the demo. First thing, let's talk about where you can change that. Think about collecting responses. So first thing is collect email addresses. You can choose to do that or not. Restrict to SUNY Fredonia. I'm going to uncheck that. That's if you're using obviously Google Apps like we are through school. Limit to 1 response. These are all some other different things that you can do. I rarely check these. If you want them to be able to edit after their first submit, you can click that as well. As far as presentation, show progress bar, that's a good one to always put. And shuffle the order, I typically don't want to do that. There's typically an order that I want them to do. Quizzes, haven't made a quiz yet, don't really know how that works. Going to have to work on that one, so I'm going to go ahead and click save. Those are the different preferences. Again, the gear is where you tap there. Let's talk about changing the color theme. If you want to change the color theme, this is where you do that. You can also choose an image to go with it. There's a bunch of them that are already preloaded. This will show your photos. Evidently, I've got some photos in there that I'm not really sure where those came from, or you can upload a photo here. Remember, if you make your own photo, this is a header for the top, so it's going to want to be horizontal. And you may have to play around with that just a little bit to get that to fit properly. I love these themes. One trick that I definitely want to say is what I tend to do is if I'm doing a form that I'm repeating every year, I always change the header so that they know that it's not just the same one as last year, so they don't accidentally click the same one. For now, we'll go and pick the Cosmos. And we're going to insert that one. And font style, you can change the font styles. We can be a little more playful if we want to be a little more playful. And I'm going to close that out. And if we go back to preview again, it will show all of our new changes that we added in here. Okay, so real quick, I think I've already had one set of responses, so let's go back to that for 1 second and let me show you one of the things you can look in the questions. Sometimes it is better to look at the data here. This is showing me all of my responses so far, and you can actually turn off accepting responses if you want to, but we could just scroll through and it'll give us in graph form the answer to a lot of these questions that we've already got. This is fine until you start getting into a whole bunch of questions. Sometimes it's not quite as useful. And you can click here to view the folder if we did upload any files. A couple of things to look at here. Get email notifications for new responses. This is something that's relatively new. You used to have to do it another way. This is extremely handy way so that anytime that somebody answers these questions, you can go there. You can unlink the form from the spreadsheet that we already have it linked to, but which we're not going to do right now. If you wanted to link it, I think this would say link form, and then you would choose what spreadsheet you would actually link it to. You could print all the responses or download the responses or delete all the responses if you're starting over. Okay, and if we click on here, we can actually click on this. It will view all the responses in sheets, and all it does is go to that the spreadsheet that we already had up, and that's what it looks like. So in the drop-down menu, in the same as above, that was the one where you could choose multiple things. If I'd have chosen multiple things, I'd just put a comma in between each one. It's got the timestamp, which is always really handy to know when people have filled these out. Let's go back to the form for one moment. Let's look at questions. All right, I think that's everything that I want to talk about. We've customized links. Oh, how do you send this? That's a great question. A couple ways you can do it. You can just put emails and it will email it out straight out from here. You can click on a link and get a link in which you can just send that out. And by the way, it's always smart to do the shortener on this one because these can be pretty long. And last but not least, if you want to embed it in a web page, you can actually embed a form into a web page, which is really nice. Collect email addresses is again here. And then if you want to share via Facebook or share via Twitter, you can do that as well. All right, I'm looking at the time on this video. I'm going to hold off on showing you the drop-down menus. I'll just make a quick little separate video for those, just really quick, because I think this one's long enough. If you have any questions about forms, just let me know. Thank you so much.